Hello. I will talk today about two architects. We'll start with Rudolf Olgiati, born in 1910 and died in 1995. So let's read a little bit about him. As we can see, he was born on September 7th, 1910 in Flims and died in 1995. He was a Swiss architect. Olgiati is known for his work with Alfred Werner Maurer on the French Riviera, of all places, and has had some of his more notable work exhibited in the 1977 ETH in Zurich, a very famous architecture school. Rudolf Olgiati was a representative of the new objectivity movement and one of the first architects in the mid-1950s to discover the importance and effectiveness of historical design principles for the architecture of modernity. Olgiati mainly built family houses in the mountainous region of Grisons in Switzerland and restored old farmhouses and patrician houses, later also designed buildings in southern France and Germany together with Alfred Werner Maurer. He is also, as I mentioned, the father of Valerio Olgiati, or he was. Olgiati's cubical use of forms moved between the priorities of Grison's local architectural tradition, the ancient Greek style. Now, I don't know what the Greek style has with the local architectural tradition of this area in Switzerland, but anyway, and modernism mainly oriented on Le Corbusier. Thus, Rudolf Olgiati was striving for a universal, timeless, and radically modern architecture, equally documenting the influence of international architecture, as well as the indigenous Swiss architecture, thereby always remaining aware of its ideological and formal context. With Olgiati, who never considered the use of traditional elements as restorative, architecture is combined with local traditions and with the place as such, which he claimed to remodel by creating an intimate relationship between the architecture and the local residents. This was the man without shoes and even without socks. An unusual picture for an architect, but I personally welcome, naturalness, so why not? Another picture of Rudolf Olgiati. And now we are going to look at some of his buildings. This is not a large presentation. I confessed before, and I will say it again, he is not one of my favorite architects. But since he was an architect not to ignore, we will not ignore him. The Matta House, 1955. The Matta House in Flims, Waldhaus, designed by Rudolf Olgiati, is in close proximity to the more famous ensemble Las Calias and Casa Radulf. The Matta House is one of the early buildings of the so-called Olgiati quartier. The building, with its white perimeter walls and saddleback roof made of natural stone slabs, features several characteristics which are considered to be typical for the architecture of Rudolf Olgiati. The garage and entrance door feature an arch, and the windows are irregularly distributed over the facade. In the interior, the fireplace is combined with a built-in seating. The small kitchen is related to the spacious living dining area. In addition to the living dining area with kitchen, there are the entrance with stairs, 2 bedrooms, and the bathroom with separate toilet on the ground floor. Anyway, the bathroom is recognizable from the exterior by the funnel-shaped window. The bedrooms have traditional window shutters. The living room has a prominent corner glazing. On the first floor are also 3 further bedrooms which are located in the attic. This is a little bit confusing. On the first floor are also 3 further bedrooms which are located in the attic. Well, where are they? On the first floor or in the attic? I didn't write this text. The front of the staircase leads to a balcony which also protects the terrace to the garden below. In the basement, there are only the garage and the cellar room. Now, Bernard Tschumi said that a good architecture, a good building can be explained to your grandmother in 1 minute on the phone. I think I read this text in a longer time than 1 minute. Anyway, I don't know what to think really about his architecture. It's an architecture that if you didn't know was made by Rudolf Olgiati, the father of Valerio Olgiati, you'd probably pass by it and at most you take a picture of it, maybe. Apartment house, La Calias, 1959, 1960. Personally, it bothers me, this so-called Greek intervention. You see those columns which mimic being very robust with a diameter, quite appreciable. But as you can see, the thick cylinder doesn't go all the way to the slab above. So actually, for structural purposes, the column is much narrower than what he tried to convey. So I don't know. I mean, of course, anything can be done, but is this really so great? I don't know why the emphasis, these four so-called powerful columns, which don't even support what is above. Anyway, I guess, at a certain level of being bored with the local traditions, you borrow some images, in fact, from a different culture, in this case, and a different time, meaning the Greek ancient architecture, abstracted, of course. Another house, 1966, a look at the fence, which is very rural, but the house, I don't feel like reading the whole because it's a long text and we better look at some pictures. Again, it's an architecture which is, I guess, comfortable and cozy, and it doesn't insult too much the landscape. Sorry for that, too much. Maybe I should not use those two words, too much. But it's essentially an architecture that is not very enticing and is not even very humble, in my opinion. It's another house on this earth with some so-called details which require a lot of words to describe, as we saw. In fact, here there are two, rather large texts just about this house. Maybe again, a good building is indeed one that doesn't need a lot of words. Maybe ideally no words at all. But when you have a lot of words, there must be something wrong with the building, in my opinion. Another house, 1966, 1967. Okay, sure, why not? But I mean, really, what's so special about this building? We look at the plan and yes, there is the distortion of the staircase, which, you could say it's justifiable because it's the diagonal surface and it expresses movement and, as such, I guess it could be a little bit different. But again, what's so special, really? I mean, maybe here there is another exceptional thing, this oblique little window. But even this, it's... I don't know. I mean, again, if this was not done by Rudolf Olgiati, and we saw it even in our own country, in the mountains, or wherever, probably we wouldn't have an emphatic Zoom presentation about it. On the other hand, I'm sure it's a comfortable house with a roofing in disarray. You see the ceramic tiles seem to fall apart. Another house, 1967, 1968. all white and splendid with an even more splendid nature around it. I would totally go for the nature. But the building, I mean, not that I wouldn't live there, I would. It's a large house in a beautiful setting, but I don't know. In my opinion, it could have been built for by many other architects. Another house for a doctor, 1968, 1969. Now this one has this element here which speeds the water, rather dramatic. I hope you see it. Let me see. Yeah, you see it here better in the picture. My God, I mean, it's quite appreciable in terms of length, and I'm not sure it's needed like this, but it's an affectation in my opinion. But let's look more in detail at this building, since we also have plans and so on. Concrete, exposed concrete. In a way, this is more of a brutalist building than the ones done by Dennis Lasden, about whom we'll talk a little bit later today. So the second and last exposed concrete structure by Rudolf Olgiati. The west side of the house was disguised with Eternit slate tiles. Yes, they are slate. It's slate actually. In spring 1977, without the architect's knowledge, depriving it of its original expressiveness. Okay. So again, let's look at the plans. Well, we see again the drama of the staircase. Otherwise, there isn't much drama. It's the staircase that, you know, it's like kind of like a dramatic second thought. But if you eliminate the staircase or you make abstraction of this shape, you get just another house. Really, it's a house that I don't even know if we can talk a lot about. Again, it's just another house for me. Yes, it is on a sloping land, and that brings in some additional drama, the diagonal of the sloping land, but that was not made by Mr. Olgiati, it was made by Mr. God. Sorry about being so, you know, unconventional in placing, maybe not even very humorously, the MR in front of God. Okay, these are the plans. So a rather surprising small kitchen, though, for a house with 3 floors and you know, with a certain complexity. Well, not a lot of complexity, but when I look at that kitchenette, you know, you would say that you could have in a studio in Titan in Bucharest, and not in this kind of house. Anyway, and then, as I said, as I mentioned, the diagonal drama of that gargoyle, I could almost call it, you know, that spits water from the roof far away from the facade of the building. But this is a poetical picture in black and white, mainly because of the you know, the less than sleek finishing of the facade. A multi-family house, Casa Radulf, not Rudolf, but Radulf, also in the same area, Flims Waldhaus in Switzerland, 1971, 1972. We already saw it actually. I don't know why I show it again. And there are these columns about which I'm rather critical, because I don't think this kind of so-called Greek emphasis was necessary at all. But they might not even have been necessary, these columns, but because you can see the canopy above is not so wide. I mean, for that kind of canopy, you don't need any columns, really. And certainly not four thick, ample cylindrical columns. In my opinion, this is an architectural perversion. You don't need those emphatic four thick columns to support that narrow, slab, which could have been very well without any column, any support, vertical support. But I mean, when you consider this compared to the cantilevered museum that not that that is a positive example. I'm referring to the huge cantilevered part of the museum that Calatrava built in Rio de Janeiro, 78 meters long, and it doesn't have any support, and it's huge and it's heavy. And here we have a little canopy that is supported by four columns to give you the impression that you enter a temple. In my opinion, it's ridiculous because the house is certainly not a temple. And as we can see, the columns are not even in the thickness and the roundness. They don't go all the way to the slab. So they are just a clothing, but anyway, another, I don't know what this is. Another house. This is also with some kind of business, a flower business. Yeah, sure. Beautiful trees, beautiful flowers, a large house, 4 garages. No, 5, sorry, if not 6, if not 7, if not 8. My God, my God. I don't know what to say about it. Yes, it's another white house in a beautiful Swiss landscape. And again, the beloved Greek echoes, the opulent round column, thicker than it has to be. Another house, this time in Italy, 1972, 1973. But I guess I don't have pictures. Sorry, apartments for elderly and small apartments, Candrian Agents, 1974. No pictures. Sorry. Another house. I guess this one is also in Switzerland, but I guess I got tired of Mr. Olgiati. Please forgive me. It's true. Neither him nor his son are my favorite architects, and I think my subjectivity had the upper hand. But anyway, I still want to talk a little bit about him because he's Mr. Olgiati. Another house, 1975, 1976. Now here I like, the entrance, I guess, is some kind of a garage there, which makes me think of the Goetheanum by Rudolf Steiner. But the building, I don't know. Again, the typical Rudolf Olgiati arch. He seems to like this kind of arch. Yeah, I guess, why not? It could be this way as well. It's true. Another house, 1978, 1979, no pictures. This is finally Côte d'Azur. He worked with A.W. Maurer. Yeah, Côte d'Azur, what can we say? These are not for proletarians. A nice villa with the same beloved columns, tricky as they are. Another house, 1984. My God, another long text. I'm not going to read it, sorry. And yeah, a house with a sloping roof. I don't know. I didn't place that red circle there. I took the picture in this way. I don't know what's so alarmingly exciting about what's going on in that area, but somebody placed that red circle there as if the lapis of the alchemist and the fountain of youth is there. I don't know. I mean, it's a house that I think many architects could have built, maybe without some of the so-called sophistications like those overinflated columns, but it leaves me cold, really. It doesn't stir up my imagination, or it doesn't make my heart beat quicker. It doesn't. It's okay. It's an okay building, I guess. And other houses, they're all kind of the same, you know. Let's say with something traditional, let's call them with a local, local feeling, and then some idiosyncratic elements in the plan, little deviations from orthogonality, like here, okay, so, is this a major architecture? Here we see something interesting, with the agglomeration of God. There are here 3 stairs, 4 and 5, really in a rather small area. And here 2 stairs, one near the other. Maybe the people who use them, the 2 separate stairs, can say hello to each other from 2 different stairs when they pass by each other. I don't know. I mean, his son has a house with a split house with 2 sides, a schismatic house. I'm talking about Valerio Olgiati. Another house for doctor, again, a doctor. Who else can build these things? Who else could hire Rudolf Olgiati? But if I like something about this architecture, is the stinginess of the kitchen. I mean, in the age of designer kitchens, here is Rudolf Olgiati designing kitchens, as you would say. This is a poor studio in a communist era built block of flats, and it's not. Of course, it's a house for a doctor. It's true. It looks alpine. It looks, rustic. It looks rural, and it is another house for another doctor. Here again, I actually beginning to like this. The stinginess of the kitchens. You see the sink and the stove are so close to each other that there is a danger there of having water from the sink fall on the stove and provoke a disaster, because fire and water do not mix well together, as you know. In fact, the bathroom seems to be bigger than the kitchen. Interesting. And again, his arch, the Rudolf Olgiati arch. Another house, another doctor, Dr. Coma, Wallenstadt, 1988. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, there are various things going on. You probably decipher the mystery better than me. Another house. We saw this one already. I guess here I show in so-called detail what I showed, in a single picture at first. Here we see those contorted stairs that you wonder. I don't even know if I saw in another architecture, this agglomeration is such a small space of 3 stairs. I'm not even mentioning the other 2, but these 3, one near the other, is incredible in a way. Anyway, it's a big house. Another house. God, that was it. Sorry. So we wish him happy birthday for yesterday, because he was born on the 7th of September, and we are today on the 8th.